AEW Revolution has just wrapped up for 2022, and I'm going to do a quick review of it, about 10 or 15 minutes, to let you know my opinions on it, what hit and what didn't quite hit, and then spend a little bit of time talking to you guys in chat and inviting people that join me for the live stream into the stream. Guys, it's time for our 2022 Revolution review.
This is Broken Matt Hardy. Thank you for watching the Give Me a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast.
And we are back. Firstly, let me thank everyone that joined me in the live stream this evening. We had a hell of a fun show to watch and a hell of a fun show to review. Overall, I thought the show was fantastically paced. It was a long pay-per-view, as AEW always do, but man, it was value for money. Paying for these pay-per-views as opposed to a network subscription, you've got to make sure that each pay-per-view is value for money, and it certainly is. While it was quite long, I didn't feel bored throughout any of it, and I think that that's a huge statement of what AEW is doing at the minute, and I think it's fantastic to see. Let's go straight into the review, and then I'm going to invite a few of the Holomaniacs to join us, considering they have been joining us all night, and hear their opinions, because it's your guys' opinions that count just as much as ours. But here's my review. First of all, we had Leyla Hirsch versus Kris Statlander. A wonderful match to start off. I thought there was some nice back and forth. Leyla Hirsch getting the win shows the direction that they're going to head in the future, and I think that's exciting, man. I think there's good things that can happen for Leyla Hirsch in the future. I thought this was a good match and a nice way to open the show. When I first heard that there wasn't a big casino battle royale or anything at the start of this, I was a bit skeptical in terms of, I would have expected them to do something like that, because it seems like an easy way to get a lot of people onto the show. But this kickoff show had none of that. It had 3 matches, and actually I thought it was all really solid. After the Leyla Hirsch match and Kris Statlander match, we got Hook versus QT Marshall. QT Marshall come out on a microphone saying how he's been training Hook and how he's turning into a superstar, but it's time to teach him a lesson and teach him who the teacher is. And Hook absolutely destroyed him. Now, what was interesting about this is it wasn't just a squash match. I think a lot of people on the stream expected a squash match, as we've seen quite a lot with Hook recently. And he didn't. This was a match that had some time put into it. But what it really showed was Hook's ability to sell. And actually, he was on point with a lot of their moments. And it makes sense for someone like QT Marshall. In terms of what they're doing with the development of Hook, I think that this is perfect for what he needs to be doing for the future. And being able to put him in people like this while still having a decisive win, but also getting more back and forth with Hook, is exactly what he needs to be doing to become the main event star that he could be in the future. So excited to see his progression. Then we had the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. And they were against Pac, Penta Oscuro, and Eric Redbeard. A match that was set up on Rampage with the debut of Eric Redbeard. And I think that that was the right thing to do. We had another couple of debuts on this show. Nothing too massive, nothing to steal the headlines from the show, which I think is important. I think that this show was more about telling the stories and finishing off the stories that AEW have been telling. And I thought there was some magnificent endings to stories throughout this, and some which will go on further. By bringing him in, it doesn't capture the headlines of, oh, this was the debut, because it's not as big a deal as bringing in some of the other people. But this match was really fun, man. Seeing Eric Redbeard stand toe-to-toe against Brody King, 2 massive people trying to cut each other down and not be able to until the final moments, was great. The House of Black looked really good in this. Malachi Black, absolutely outstanding. Buddy Matthews, I know some people in our stream, it was their first time watching him, and he bloody shone, man. He looked great. And of course, the people who are against Penta's looking outstanding in this sort of what will eventually, I assume, turn into a singles run. Redbeard was good, and Redbeard ended up taking the pin because of the black missed to the face, sent off by Malachi Black. And all of the House of Black ended up getting the finishers on Eric Redbeard. Again, I don't know if Eric Redbeard has an AEW contract or if they're bringing him in for one show, but it was really good. It was the right thing to do. It kept Penta looking strong and Pac looking strong, as well as letting the House of Black go over as this dominant faction. We saw them lose in a match recently with Malachi Black of all people taking the pin, and to have this as the sort of payoff to that was good, and it was a good, solid, fun match. Lots of stuff going on, without breaking too many rules of tag matches, which maybe some of the other matches in the card become a little chaotic. Then we head into the main event, and the first match of the night was Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho. Obviously, the crowd starts off with singing Judas as Chris Jericho enters the ring. And then Eddie Kingston comes down. It's a completely different atmosphere as he darts straight for the ring. He means business here. And it was good, man. It was a really solid match. It was really interesting seeing Jericho's reaction here as the fans were booing. The fans love Eddie Kingston, man, and wanting him to go over. Jericho stating prior to the match that if Eddie Kingston can beat him, he might give him the respect that he deserves. And there was lots of back and forth in this with a lot of chops and a lot of punches. Jericho delivering a top rope hurricanrana, which was outstanding. I mean, he made it look easy, and he's 50 plus years old. It was really solid. Eddie come back with an exploding suplex. The crowd, when he gets him into the walls of Jericho, the crowd were going mental. It's lovely to see a crowd, and the crowd were one of the stars of the show tonight. They kept the energy up throughout, and this was one of them moments. The crowd were going mental. Eddie got his hand to the bottom rope for a rope break, and at this point we start to see Jericho become the heel in this match. We start to see him have a little feud, reigniting his feud with Aubrey Edwards as he's pushing her, saying this shouldn't have happened, and her pushing back. We're seeing that Jericho that started AEW 5 years ago, and it's really exciting. I mean, it was a cracking match, and the winner of that match with 2 spinning backfists and then the stretch plum submission ended up being Eddie Kingston. Eddie gets the win, and I think that this is the right thing to do. I think Eddie needed a big win at a pay-per-view, and giving it against Jericho is great. It's not going to hurt Jericho in the long run. One of the biggest surprises of this match, I think, for me and a couple of the people watching on my stream, was that Proud and Powerful never got involved in the match at all, which we all kind of expected, but this certainly helps Eddie Kingston in the future. Next up, we had the Tag Team Championship match, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus the Young Bucks and reDRagon. This match was really good. The two teams of the Young Bucks and reDRagon isolated Jurassic Express early on, but whilst I was expecting a beatdown of Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy in particular was constantly fighting back. And so whilst we got later on in the match this sort of breakdown between reDRagon and the Young Bucks, which didn't actually play on later in the show, which I kind of expected it to, as theirs is an important story going into the future in terms of the Elite and what's going to happen with them in the future. There was so much happening in this match. And one of the things that I was really impressed with was Jungle Boy's comebacks. They absolutely made him look like the star here. Also, his hot tags to Luchasaurus, which were quite often thwarted by the heel teams. When he did get in, Luchasaurus was absolutely the powerhouse, which he should be. And he was able to take on both teams before slowly getting brought down. In the end, ended up being the fact that the Young Bucks and reDRagon could not get on and could not let each other get the win that ended up with Jurassic Express getting the win. Matt covered them for 1, 2, 3, but the Thoracic Express powerbomb ended up being the pinfall. Nick almost broke it up, but it was too late. And I thought this was absolutely fantastic. And one of the most important things about this match is that after this match, before this match, I didn't really feel like Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy were the tag team champions. I don't think they'd had sort of the match that defined their championship run. After this match, I absolutely see them as tag team champions, and that was super important to do. Quite excited to see where this goes in the future. Cracking match if you want to check it out. Next up, we have the Face of the Revolution ladder match with Keith Lee, Christian Cage, Powerhouse Hobbs, Orange Cassidy, Wardlow, and Ricky Starks. There was times in this match that I felt there was setting up spots a little bit too much. Christian putting ladders in certain places so that we can get the spots. So it kind of looks like they're setting up a mock set of the Squid Games. But there was some beautiful moments in this match. And the absolute star in this match was Wardlow. And they really did sort of have him not just win the match, but take everyone out to be able to win the match. And that was one of the interesting things that I found. There's a spot where he goes onto the near the announcer's desk with Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs, the three big guys, the teases that we've had all night of these two. And while Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs are beating each other up, he shoulder barges them off the onto the announce desk and the ladder that was set up below, with them both falling out, wiping them out of the match. I would have also liked to have seen a couple more power bombs from Wardlow. We've kind of established that on Dynamite as his finishing move, and we only got to see two in this match as he went back into the ring against Christian Cage, and then a power bomb off the top of the ladder to Ricky Starks, who looked like he took a hell of a bump there. Whilst I enjoyed the match, I just think it lacked it was just the setup points that just didn't flow quite as well for me. However, the right person absolutely won, and this was Wardlow's night. That cannot be mistaken. I think more than anyone else, this was probably Wardlow's night. I think we all know when he gets that TNT title shot, we'll all be watching for when he gets that win, and that's important and that's exciting. Next up, we had a new debut from Tony Schiavone, announcing a new contract signing. As Schiavone's wafting around the contract, we see the name Swerve on it. And Shane Swerve Strickland is in AEW. Fans chatting whose house, and Swerve's house. Cool. I mean, a nice addition to the AEW roster, and we'll see where he goes from here. Tay Conti made her entrance. A lot of makeup on Tay Conti, some war paint. Looks like some sort of Brazilian cultural reference, with Anna Jay and -1 with her to wish her luck. Obviously, the new Brody Lee action figure with -1 coming out. So nice to see him making an appearance on the show. Oh, the other thing that happened in the ladder match is Danhausen came out and cursed Ricky Starks. Yay. So Jade is 28-0. These two had a good match, man. I mean, it was absolutely solid. Decent win for Cargill, a decisive win for Cargill. Absolutely what she needs to continue to have at this point. I liked the fact that Max Stelling was taken out quite early on as well. He's becoming a real good manager with Jade Cargill, and I think that's important for her at the minute. Then we get the CM Punk and MJF dog collar match. We knew going in that this has been a wonderful build, and the match, dog collar match, is interesting. I don't think if you was to look at the match as an individual match, like, it wasn't the most spectacular match in terms of moves. There wasn't massive noticeable things. There was thumbtacks used in the match, absolutely, and there was a lot of teases in who's going to go into the thumbtacks first. CM Punk was busted up, and really early on there was some great storytelling with CM Punk using the chain around his knee to take out MJF, and then when he goes for it again, ends up ramming it into the steel steps, which obviously takes out the GTS. And at the same time, CM Punk was working on taking out MJF's hand. Some wonderful storytelling in the ring, unlike anything we've sort of seen previously, where it's all wrestling moves and match and stuff like that. These two relied heavily on the wonderful story that they had going into it, and expanded on it and made it really, really interesting. I was thoroughly engaged throughout this match, and even though they didn't do quite as much in the ring, it was still freaking awesome. I loved it. Paul Turner was of course, the Ring of Honor. Let's talk about the Ring of Honor. Obviously, AEW, speaking about buying Ring of Honor recently, CM Punk comes out in Ring of Honor gear and with Ring of Honor music. There was something lovely about that in terms of MJF sort of saying, "You was my hero at this point earlier in my life," which wasn't necessarily Ring of Honor. It was probably more WWE. But the idea that Punk's going back to his roots to get his payback on MJF for everything that he did was great. No one can say when CM Punk went back to wrestling, he'll phone it in. He is absolutely not, man. He put work into this match. The fact that he was still standing after bleeding out for as long as he did, I thought was pretty incredible. Towards the end of the match, though, Wardlow comes out, and when MJF asks for the ring, Wardlow can't find it. Can't find the ring. And then after Punk gets rid of MJF, Wardlow finds the ring and places it on the ring for CM Punk to use to get the win. Wardlow has turned his back on MJF. Wardlow grabbing that brass ring and becoming his own man, I think is an outstanding story. And I can't wait to see where it goes in the future. I really can't. I think it's cool as all hell. Thank you all so much for joining me. I will get to all your comments in a bit, my guys. Can't wait to hear all your opinions. I thought the match was brilliant. Whilst it wasn't a technical masterpiece, it wasn't the best wrestling match on the show. It was brilliant for the storytelling, and that's what this needed to be. And AEW is definitely the variety show of wrestling. Next up, we had Dr. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. Obviously, they cleaned the ring for this match because there was a lot of blood in the last match, and the two fought a lot. There was a tombstone that was done in this match, which again there was a couple of tombstones used both in the CM Punk match, in Thunder Rosa match, in the main event as well. And I feel like they were using a bit heavily on the tombstone. Sometimes AEW does that where they have one move that should be a killer move, and they overuse it ever so slightly by using it in multiple matches, and so it loses its impact, especially when it's in part of the main event. This match was all about Reba and Jamie Hayter putting off Thunder Rosa from the match, meaning that Britt Baker could get the upper hand. There was a really nice moment though where Thunder Rosa tries to get the lockjaw onto Britt Baker, but she's got the counter for it. She just knows you need to bite down. Look, it was a good match. I think our expectations of these two meeting in the ring are massive from the wonderful Lights Out match that they had from last year. And I don't know if this met them expectations, but that's only because we've seen such good stuff in the past. I thought it was still a good match. Britt Baker wins with a stomp on the women's title. There was a couple of them throughout the match. A really fun, exciting match, and I thought it was good. I obviously wanted more because I love the pair of them, and I think they're fantastic wrestlers. Next up, we have Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. And if you were talking pure wrestling, this match, man, this was unique. It was special. It was good. There was this thing about them both trying to out-technician each other at times, and then Moxley just goes screw it and start beating the hell out of him. And these two were really beating each other constantly from any sort of small movement that happened. It'd end up in this chop battle. They'd end up trying to get these moves on each other, but it wouldn't work. So they'd end up in a kick battle. We saw it on the floor when they were trying to get submissions in, and it just ends up with a pair of them just kicking each other on the floor. A constant bloody brawl, man. One of the other things that I liked about this is Bryan Danielson talked about when you'll be the one that's bleeding in this match and stuff like that. Actually, when we're watching the match, what actually happens is they both start bleeding at the exact same time. And I thought that was great. Again, from these sort of headbutts and violence that was happening on the floor. In the end, it ended up being Jon Moxley who got... Bryan applied a triangle choke submission. While Moxley grabbed the beard, Bryan punched, looked like he was fading, and Moxley countered it to a pin. The music plays, and Moxley won this match. The two of them at the end of the match, instead of teaming up as was teased, end up beating the hell out of each other. And someone comes out to stop them and say, hey, shut up a second. You two don't need to go to war. William Regal comes out. And not only does he come out and sort of have a go at them and scare him in the ring, and he's sort of standing between the pair of them, and the pair of them go at each other, and William Regal slaps the living crap out of Jon Moxley, headbutts him, and he's like, "Stop now." And then turn around to talk to Danielson, and instead of while he's sort of smiling away at the father figure telling off Jon Moxley, and just gets an absolute beating himself from William Regal. And here he is in AEW, and it forces them to shake hands. I assume we're going to get him as some sort of manager of the team, and who better, man? And I think this was a wonderful sort of tribute to Regal in this match, this sort of technical wrestler who is also a cracking brawler and beat the hell out of you. I thought it was great. Jon Moxley wins. Then we have the fun match. There was Sting, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy, Andrade del Idolo, and Isiah Kassidy. This was a tornado tag. Don't know where we were supposed to look at times. It was chaotic. It was madness. It was fun. Sting, putting him in a tornado match. I mean, he's going to have to keep working. He can't just disappear. And hell, did he keep working? A lot of attacks on Matt Hardy. It was like rewatching Impact. Lots of low blows from Matt Hardy on Sting. Andrade and Darby Allin were fighting quite a lot. Sammy Guevara and Isiah Kassidy go up to the top of one of the stands, and Sammy Guevara goes, "I'm crazy," and then does a Spanish fly off onto two tables. Butcher and the Blade get involved, as well as Mark Quinn. So we've got the entire Hardy family office out here, and set up a load of tables, which it looks like you're setting up for Sting to throw Matt Hardy through. It ends up being Sting doing a Stinger splash onto, who was it? Was it Andrade? Probably Andrade, threw a couple of tables off the stand of the... Yeah. Man, he's not young, and he's crazy. and he looks like he's enjoying it as well. It looks like hard work. Darby Allin hit a Scorpion Death Drop onto the chair and the ring on Matt Hardy, and ends up going for a coffin drop, which I think someone in chat had mentioned this, that he thinks that Matt Hardy had actually rolled because he thought Darby Allin had got to the other turnbuckle, so it ended up just being Darby Allin's head that catches the coffin drop, and he ends up getting the win. Whilst this wasn't a massive technical match or what have you, it was fun. It was light relief, which is exactly what we needed after the sort of heavy wrestling that we just seen from Moxley and Danielson. I enjoyed it. It was good fun, and so the faces win, as we expected. Darby, Sting, and Sammy setting up future matches. Indeed, we're going to get, I assume, Wardlow and Sammy soon. Then we have the AEW Championship match, Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole, and the crowd are having fun by this point. Let's go, Adam. They're chanting. Adam sucks as well as chants. The crowd were having a lot of fun, and that was great. There was some cracking moments in this match. Cole's super kicks are outstanding, and anytime he does them, they're amazing. There was one point where Page was doing a moonsault off the top rope. Adam Cole super kicks him, and it's like his body changes direction midair. You're like, Jesus Christ, that impact, man. There was lots of big moments in this match, from Cole hitting an Urugoshi slam. There was Adam Cole going for his boom finisher. He hit the Panama Sunrise off the apron. reDRagon got involved to try and put off Page, but Dark Order soon repelled them back, which was interesting. Covering the ropes, Page hit a Liger bomb at one point. There was dead eyes going back and forth. It was exactly what you'd expect from these two. And Cole is such a worker that it just feels great. And it was at the end of a long pay-per-view, but the action didn't stop, and it wasn't, it was never boring to watch. There was one point where Adam Page hits the buckshot lariat, but Cole gets to the ring ropes, just able to avoid getting the pin off the buckshot lariat. There's another fantastic moment where Adam Page pulls down his knee pad and goes for the boom, followed by the buckshot lariat, which gets him the win. Adam Page continued to be champion, and whilst Cole is laying on the floor, Page goes and reaches his hand and shakes it. nothing going backwards, but he did shake his hand, and it was fun, man. I mean, for me, my favorite match of the night was actually Moxley and Bryan Danielson. I didn't expect it to be that. I give the pay-per-view out of 10, 9.5. I thought it was a wonderfully paced pay-per-view. I thought they didn't overdo it with debuts or anything, didn't overdo it with things to not talk about. Absolute star-making moment for Wardlow. And some interesting stuff, man. Some interesting stuff going forward. Wow. And CM Punk and MJF paid off exactly as it should. Guys, I want to get all your opinions, so write them down in the comments. Performer of the night, I'd probably give to Moxley. I thought he was outstanding tonight. I thought his fight was vicious. And what he did is he also mixed that with the technical wrestling that he does so well as well. I loved it. I thought Moxley did so good tonight. Guys, let me know what you think. Let me know your ratings and all that. Let's go through the comments. I'd love to hear what you thought of the show, what you enjoyed from the show. I'm also going to put a link if you want to come on to the show. You are absolutely more than welcome. I'm going to copy that. Whether you want to do it with just your video camera, whatever, on your phone, that's absolutely cool. If you want to hide your face, that's cool as well, man. If you just want to use the audio, the link is in the description right there. Guys, thank you so much. Jack says, back. Sorry, my handwriting looks like an infant school kid. Jack, mate, it's all good. Don't you worry about it, mate. Thank you so much for doing that. Sassy says, hey, guys. Sassy, thank you so much. You guys have joined me all night, and you really kept me awake and kept me alive. It's now 5:43 in the morning, and I feel alive. Be right back. Gamer Guy, best show ever. Gamer Guy, loving this show, and it was an absolute cracking pay-per-view. It was just so well paced, so well paced. Best show ever, says Sassy. I don't know about best. WrestleMania 17 and ECW One Night Stand 2015 still, but that is damn close. I'll tell you one thing about tonight, guys. I don't think it had a 5-star match. And AEW has definitely had 5-star matches before. But what it was a consistently good card. Consistently good. And that's what made this show. Had it had them 5-star matches, maybe that would take it right up to 10. Maybe it would turn it into. But I do feel that there has been better matches at other pay-per-views. I don't think any match individually, whilst I love the Moxley Bryan match, I don't think it's necessarily as good as, let's say, Omega and Page, or Young Bucks and the Luchas in the cage match, or even Young Bucks and FTR. So I think it had its. I think it was just a cracking pay-per-view that paid off everything it needed to do, without giving us that moment of, oh my god, let's talk about this for a week. In my opinion. Wardlow's map of revolution. Yes, it is. It was absolutely Wardlow's night, Sassy. I completely agree. William Regal saying, wind your neck in, pal, or I'll bite your nose off. Popped me. Yeah, I understand, man. Regal was classic, says Sassy. Absolutely. Agree. Mox was a star. Bryan and Mox best match, says Sassy. Well, let's get 2 people in. I'm going to invite these people in together because I'm sure they won't mind. We can hear both of their opinions at the same time. It's friends of the channel who joined me all night on stream.
Comes Hook. And this was fairly short. This went less than 5 minutes. Hook, as the bell rang, took QT Marshall down.
Someone's
mission holds. One was
someone's watching another YouTuber. That was Sassy. Sassy, you're watching another YouTuber. Come back to me. Hiya, Jackie boy. How are you doing?
Not.
Hi, Sassy.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Sassy.
I'm doing good. I'm just so wound up still with
About
the
what?
matches. About everything. I mean, the buy-in was even good.
It was, wasn't it? I really enjoyed it. Absolutely enjoyed it. What did you think, Jack, overall?
Absolutely excellent. Like, I still can't fully process it, but it was easily worth more than what I paid for it, and it was such an event.
Yeah, man. And that's important with AEW pay-per-views because you are paying a premium price for it. It's not part of a subscription. It's not something you can just watch. You have to choose to go out the way to watch it. And what they do is do such a good job at building it up that you can have a match like MJF and CM Punk, which wasn't like a wrestling classic by any standards, but it means so much. Yeah. Buy-in, Sassy, you said was good. What did you enjoy on the buy-in? Hello. We've got a key.
Yeah, that was you know, she liked it as well.
I was really drawn to the House of Black match, especially because you really didn't know during the match who was going to win.
You didn't, did you? It was
the action was great. There was wrestling, there was brawling. It just had everything in it.
I think one of the things that made that match outstanding was the back and forth, Sassy. Like you say, you didn't know who was going to win because they both had advantages at different times. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm seeing them on top, so they're probably going to lose. It was constantly back and forth. And you didn't see who got the advantage between Redbeard and King until the end, you know, and I thought that was really good.
And I hope that Redbeard, they will sign him because he was totally awesome.
He did really good tonight, didn't he? I mean, we sort of remember him from WWE where he didn't sort of do much, but he really did some nice stuff tonight, especially that first sort of Fury where he was constantly in place to beat up 5 other people, you know, in exactly the right spots. I thought it was great. Good for him. What did you think of the pre-show, Jackie Boy?
I thought it was absolutely excellent. Sort of like Tash said, I can't remember the last time there was a pre-show that was that good and firing on all cylinders.
I think, interestingly, there was a lot more wrestling on this pre-show. We normally get like a comedy match or a battle royale or something like this. This was like, this is part of the event. It very much felt like part of the event as well, I'd say.
Yeah, they gave us a Rampage on a buy-in.
Yes, they did. Yeah. And that was great.
Yes.
I thought it was wonderful. We got a couple of comments. I'll go through them quickly. Heel Rowdy says, MJF versus Punk, greatest story right now. That's how you do 50-50 booking. Hope we see a third match. Do you guys think we're going to see a third match? No. What about you, Jackie Boy?
No, I don't think so. I think this is the end of the feud. Maybe we'll get a throwaway on Dynamite or Rampage, but
I think we'll get a third match, and I think we'll get a third match when MJF has the title.
No.
I think you can wait that long. I think the story has legs. I think the story of MJF right now is Wardlow. I think he wins that feud while still making Wardlow look great. And I think then you put MJF on that title, man.
Yeah, I think there might be a tag where it's Wardlow and Punk against Spears and MJF.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that'll probably happen, Sassy. That's a really good shout. Quite interesting. Spears didn't get involved at all.
Yeah, it is, but I think they probably thought that and thought, no, that would be, with the interference as it is, getting Spears as well would be overbooking it.
Maybe so, man. Keep the focus on Wardlow as opposed to bringing Spears in. Great question, Rowdy. And obviously, Roddy Piper, a reference to them dog collar matches, man. Like an outstanding match from 1983, you know, that we all remember. Michael says, who was more over, Jurassic Express or Hangman? Audience is finicky, and Paige seems to have the same match over and over, exception being the recent Murder Hawk match. Interesting comment. I think this pay-per-view, Michael, I think the Jurassic Express got more over. Like, their match, they feel like tag champions after that match, guys.
Yeah, I agree with that. And they really needed to have a convincing match because they've been boring.
Yes. And a lot of the matches have been on Rampage, haven't it? Ironically as well.
Yeah.
But you're right. We all went into this going, Jurassic Express don't really feel like tag team champions. I think that's why a lot of people had chosen reDRagon or Young Bucks to win it, thinking, they've been having the story. They've even been put into this sort of tag match with their story being part of the story. But actually coming out of it, you end up seeing Jurassic Express as the champions. Hangman's an interesting one because he has had some outstanding matches. I mean, Brian Danielson, they were amazing matches, both of them. Then we've had the Lance Archer match, and then we've had this match, and all four of them matches have been solid. The thing is, I don't think we've seen him enough in matches, and we need to carry on seeing him in matches.
I really don't think he has the personality to be a champion.
Right? Okay.
I really don't. He doesn't go far enough in his promos to make you want to root for him. And I would love for him to do a promo where he talks about the struggles that he had, where he talks about what the belt and what wrestling means to him. And I don't think we've heard that from him.
I think that's interesting, Sassy. I think you make an interesting point about him not being good at promos. I think he's very hit or miss. I think part of the problem is, especially being put with Dark Order, he has these sort of goofy promos sometimes as opposed to serious promos, and then he does a story time with Adam Page, which is actually a better promo, and then he just feels a bit back and forth. Maybe that's his problem. Maybe it's that you don't know whether to take him seriously or not, and maybe that's an issue with him being part of the Dark Order still, or related to them. It's a bit like I said when we was watching the stream, as you guys were watching, someone had said about the Dark Order getting involved, and I was like, the Dark Order can't get involved because this is bigger than the Dark Order right now. But then the Dark Order get involved,
Yeah, I mean, Jericho got that big pop when he was champion because of the Inner Circle. And I'd really like to see Page be involved in a feud with reDRagon and the Young Bucks, because they need to be built up in order to give him credibility.
Absolutely, but they just felt like they were doing their own thing tonight without Adam Cole or Adam Page, I guess. And actually, there's so much story with Adam Page being inserted into that Elite feud that they haven't used, and this has been quite a quick build to Cole and Page, which you could have done with more time as well, I think. Interesting. Heel Rowdy says, not too soon, but down the line. No, a Wardlow match sooner. Yeah, but Michael wants to see the Wardlow match. Anthony, how did you finish out the predictions? Jared, I am the new Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast champion, baby.
Aren't you still the champion?
Well, no, because it's my belt. So this was the champion to call out the belt. While it was at mine, I am the inaugural champion, and no one will ever be able to take that away from me. Check out that belt, baby. Thank you for asking, Jared. Sassy has it right. Our fan behavior is the reason WWE lets heels hold the belts. It's sad, but Hangman is two-face. Hangman had that thing where he was like that kick-ass cowboy that was drinking and not giving a shit about anything, and that's where the sort of cowboy shit comes from. And now he doesn't feel like that, does he? He's sort of lost in sort of nothingness.
He has gone a bit towards generic sort of creator wrestler. So
yeah, I think you're right.
Has a Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, I think you're right. What about Jericho and Kingston, dudes?
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fact I predicted who'd win.
Jericho's so heel, man, isn't he?
He is. If he hadn't turned in this match, he's going to turn very soon.
Yeah, I wish he'd stepped into it a little bit more at the end. I know that he sort of walked away and wouldn't give him his respect, but I kind of wanted a little bit more of a heel turn, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely did as well.
Yeah. It felt like he's hesitant to do it because he didn't know how the crowd would react, but the crowd absolutely wanted to see Kingston as a face, as we all sort of predicted, really.
Yeah, to me, Jericho and Mox are those rare characters where it doesn't matter whether they're a face or a heel, they're going to be vicious.
Yeah.
And they can get away with not having to be a heel or a face because of the fact that their characters are so well built to them.
Yeah. And do you guys think that's the end for Jericho and Kingston?
No, I think I still think Santana and Ortiz are going to be a factor.
I'm surprised we didn't see anything from them tonight in terms of where they sort of lie on that fence.
I agree.
What was the next match? Let's go to the next match. Sorry, I ain't got my notes up. The next match was the tag match. Outstanding, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, they absolutely felt like tag champs after that. And it was that whole story. The one thing I didn't expect was the fight from Jungle Boy. Like, I expected him to get a comeback and win because the heels had sort of out-heeled each other. And that all sort of makes sense. But I didn't expect as much fight from Jungle Boy. And that was absolutely the right thing to do.
I agree. I had Jurassic Express sort of pegged as transitional champions at best. Those, to me, this was a choice between Young Bucks and reDRagon. But I was, even though I was wrong, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, and I thought he looked a star in this match, man, and they work well as a tag team anyway. Jurassic Express. I thought this was their crowning moment as tag team champions, easily.
Best match for them.
Yeah. What did you think about and there was in with some talent as well. I mean, I think Jungle Boy could do a lot more with working with the Young Bucks as well, because I think he'll learn a hell of a lot from them. Going forward. Fifth Revolution Madam match. Did you kind of feel the same as me? It was a bit spotty.
Yes, but I think that was strength to it.
Okay.
Because after all those matches, especially tag match, you needed a bit of a sort of letdown spot. And rather than just do a normal P-break match, they did this. And it was spot. And very kayfabe shattering it at times when Wardlow was on the rampway. So I thought that was a good move by AEW.
Cool. What do you think, Sassy?
I think that I was actually surprised because I was expecting the Cardell match to be after the tag team.
Yes,
because that was a perfect match where if someone wanted to get food, they wanted to get, have a toilet break, they could, because you knew going in that Jade was going to win that match. I just thought that out of all of the matches, that was the weakest one, but it was still a good match, but it was the weakest out of the group.
Yeah, I'd agree. Is that Jade Cargill you're talking about, or are you talking about?
Yeah. I just cannot. I like Jade Cargill, but I still think they put her in that position too soon.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, yeah, but this was a better match than we've seen from Jade quite a lot, so I was happy for that, I guess, as well. Michael says, saw a bad bump from Jericho, suplex on his head. Adds heat, but Jericho is giving back to the business. Is Kingston the right person for him to give more credibility to? Eddie's constantly over. I think Eddie needed a big win at a pay-per-view, and this was the right time to do it. The Jericho suplex was the very first move of the night from the actual pay-per-view, which was mad. And hello, word 789, just going through it with the friends here. And we'll carry on. Let's go on to the dog collar match, CM Punk and MJF.
Match of the night. Easy.
You enjoyed it, right? That much? Interesting.
Yeah.
It was a really good match. CM Punk needed to get the win. So he can move on.
So he can move on.
And I think that he's probably going to be challenging Sammy for the TNT Championship.
You think CM Punk will?
Yeah.
I think Wardlow's going to win it, isn't he?
I think Wardlow was going to win it, but I think his first challenger is going to be CM Punk, and CM Punk will lose.
Wow, against Sammy. Big if that happens. I think they've got Sammy and Scorpio Sky at this week's Dynamite, and then the week after is Wardlow versus whoever wins that match. So I think you give it to Wardlow straight away, but we'll see where that goes. So Jack, what did you enjoy so much about this, man?
Well, first off, with me, when I was back in living York Uni, when I was 19, that's when I started watching Ring of Honor. I was really a WWE only guy at that point. So I started watching Ring of Honor, and that's where I found out about CM Punk. And then he debuted in WWE not long afterwards.
Yeah.
And to me, that match took me instantly back about 14 years. Hey, Becky.
Hi.
Took me instantly back 14 years to being that guy watching it again.
Yeah. Oh, right. Nice. Okay.
It was very, very visceral, very bloody. It cashed in on AEW just buying ROH.
Yeah. Clever.
It was booked to perfection, that match as well.
It was wonderfully placed. They didn't have to do anything outstanding because what they were doing is teasing suspense on every spot. Yeah, I thought it was outstanding. And because the story was so strong, it could absolutely be that. If the story wasn't as strong going into it, I think we'd be looking at this match in a completely different set of eyes. But it was, so it doesn't matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't think any of us would say this was MJF or CM Punk's greatest match they've ever had. I don't even think it was necessarily as technically good as the first match they had, but it had more emotion in it because of what they'd built, and I thought that was outstanding.
It reminded me very strongly of the CM Punk Raven feud in ROH.
Right, okay. Why is that?
It was very, very emotion driven, very bloody, very visceral.
Cool.
Definitely give that a watch if you haven't seen it.
Should we move on to Dr. Britt Baker DMD versus Thunder Rosa? What did you think of this match?
I thought it was very good. It's very much not Thunder Rosa. Dr. Baker has she's only got a certain time left with the belt, but I genuinely thought there is no way she's getting out with the belt tonight, and she did, and it was very believable how she did it.
What do you think, Sassy?
I don't know. I like Britt Baker, and I think that if they build her up enough, she could be like a Mox or a Jericho, where she wouldn't need to have be a face or a heel. She's just a good wrestler. And I think that them having the outside interference hurts her more than it helps her. Because I just think she's an incredible technician in the ring. She can be vicious when she wants to be vicious. And I really would like this next match between the two of them to be a cage match.
Okay, the one in Sao Paulo. Yeah, that would make sense. I think the problem I had with this match is we expected it to be the sort of full stop, the crowning achievement of Thunder Rosa. And actually, what it ended up being is a continuation of the story. Because as soon as I heard that there was fighting in Thunder Rosa's hometown, and then they were setting up this match for her to fight her in her hometown, which they're basically doing, I was like, oh, there's the crowning achievement moment. But actually going into the pay-per-view, not knowing all of that, like I was like, yeah, this is the time. Maybe it is the right time to do it in a couple of weeks at St. Patrick's Day Slam. Which out of a sort of trivia fact is also the way they had the lights out match. That was St. Patrick's Day Slam. So I assume they're going to be main event in that Dynamite again.
Mm-hmm.
Nice dovetailing.
Nice what? Sorry.
It dovetails very nicely into it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. If it can end in the same way. Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. Rubbish match. Let's not talk about it. Let's move on to... I'm only joking, Sassy. Go on, love.
To me, the match of the night.
You loved it, didn't you? I thought it was match of the night as well.
It just had everything. And what I really like and what brought me to wrestling, I'm a little older than you guys. So yeah, I remember
16, you're not that old, darling.
Oh, I am. I'm going to be 61 in May.
16, you've got the numbers wrong way around.
But to the real grit of wrestling in the 60s and 70s.
Right, okay.
And there are two incredible talents who have so much talent it blows your mind. Because who would have thought that Moxley would have wrestled completely technical in this match?
Yeah.
It was just amazing. The grit. You really didn't want anyone to lose.
No.
In this match whatsoever. And I think that this is going to be the tag team to watch. Because of their styles, and they showed people tonight in this match how their styles go together.
Yes. I mean, I one of the incredible things about Moxley in this is I thought he really brought out... We've seen a vicious side of Bryan, but Bryan didn't hold back tonight. When Bryan come in, he said, I want to kick some people's heads off. And tonight we absolutely saw that. And it was Mox that I think sort of allowed him to go, look, we know we can wrestle. We know we can have this match. We know we can do this, but we also know we can beat the shit out of each other and make it look great. And that's exactly what they did. What do you think, Jackie boy?
I thought they put on there's a match I was thinking of Kurt Angle versus He Who Shall Not Be Named at WrestleMania 17, and like that, they just put on a absolute clinic match, the technical expertise, and I'm struggling to remember the last time we saw Bryan Danielson Blade. Maybe it was in WWE.
I don't know. I can't remember him Blade in WWE. I'm trying to think if I can remember Danielson with blood on his face.
I don't reckon he was, because he was
I
in
think
WWE.
it was a Triple H match.
He was there for about a decade, so he must have done at some point. But
they also didn't like it, did they? Did he bleed during a Triple H match? I don't remember that, Sassy.
I think he did.
I think you're right.
Well, obviously Moxley cut a bit deeper tonight, blood dripping off his head. And then we had the debut of Regal. Perfect. Especially after that match. Perfect.
I told you, but you didn't believe me.
I had no idea. I marked out so much for him.
Sassy
if we
did
get
as
blood
well.
and guts next, I'm going to lose it.
Blood and guts with them two. And some
The only thing I missed was Moxley rubbing his face and licking his own blood off his hands.
Sassy, you're sick, and that's why we love you. Tag match: Sting, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, Matt Hardy, Andrade, Isiah, Kassidy. Mental. Would WWE ever have let Sting do any of this?
Oh God, no.
No.
They wouldn't let pretty much anyone do that, let alone Sting.
It was just crazy, but it was fun, wasn't it? It was a nice break.
Rebirth of ECW.
Kind of was, yeah. It kind of was.
Yeah.
With Sting, the 61-year-old Sting or whatever he is, mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was cracking, good fun, and a nice break match. And then the championship match. What do you think of that, guys?
I think it's good because it is Adam Page's reign so far, I wouldn't say lackluster, but there's something missing. This match has definitively said, no, this is the guy with the belt now.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I just hope they continue to give him matches. That's all they need to do, because he does talk in the ring. I think what you're saying, Sassy, as well about his promo, he talks better in the ring, so let him talk in his language. You know what I mean?
I loved this match. They all any match that you have where the wrestlers put 100% of themselves in the ring is always a great match. And that happened. I love the fact that the factions were there because it just blew up the storyline even more for them to expand upon it.
Yeah.
As well.
Rock and roll, yeah. I thought it was a wonderful end to a cracking, solid show. A show, like I said in my review, I don't think this had any 5-star matches per se, and I think the AEW has delivered this. But what it did do is it delivered a constantly good. I mean, most of the matches were at least 4-star if you was to rate them on a 4-star rating. And actually, what that led to was a wonderful pay-per-view that we could all sit back, relax, and enjoy. Is my sort of opinion.
Yeah. I kind of disagree with you. I think there were 3 5 matches.
Oh, do you? Okay, which do you think? So you're saying Danielson and Mox?
Danielson and Mox was a 5. I think the tag team triple threat was a 5 because all those guys performed.
And you really want to be Cole and Page.
To be. I thought that was, and I thought the Adam Cole one was a 5.
You see, to me, they're all sort of 4.5, and the reason for that is when I think about a 5-star, I'm looking at like Young Bucks and Penta, or Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Page as sort of them sort of stand out, and I don't think that matched them. And then for singles, I look at things like Omega Page, which I thought was outstanding. Or Baker and Thunder Rosa at a lights out match, or Ilya Dragunov and Walter, sort of classic matches. And I whilst I think that these all sort of told the story, I don't know if they were on that level for me, but that's just my opinion. Jack, what do you think, man?
Well, basically, I think we didn't have any 5-star. Well, maybe we did. I would need to rewatch it. But we had so many sheer amount of 4 stars at least.
Yeah.
That, I mean, any WWE especially, but any company would be lucky to have that in a year. That many 4 stars.
100%. And I thought it was a constantly solid pay-per-view. Michael says, sorry,
I was just agreeing with you. Absolutely solid.
Mox is the hero we need, but not the one we deserve. We've got a Batman fan in the house. Paige and Lance Archer are better than promo cutters. Yes, they are. Get them in the ring, man. What's next? Pinnacle versus Inner Circle rivalry? I think Inner Circle have gone, Michael. I think they're pretty much done now. I think the next story is Jericho and Proud and Powerful breaking off with Kingston. So, yeah, interesting. I think I'm going to end it here after Raymond's comment. The one match that could have been better was Rosa and Britt without the interference, but it's time to see Britt on her own for a change. I think the Britt match, again, I think we all expected it to be the end of the story, and I think what we actually got was a continuation of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it clearly sets up stakes for a rematch, but I don't think any of us were expecting that. We saw the pay-per-view as the end point,
I now 100% agree with Sassy, but that the rematch should be a cage, and that's
yeah, it should be. There's call for that, but also being the main event of St. Patrick's Day Massacre, putting that in a cage, I think that's outstanding.
Definitely.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I do appreciate it, and thank you for joining me all night, everyone. Like, I've had a really good night, and it's so much better to just watch these things with you guys, and it's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Dynamite is going to be dynamite.
Dynamite is going to be interesting. And who are you watching it with, Sassy?
It's going to be me and my cat, whose name is Prince.
Prince, yeah? You're going to be watching it with Gimme a Whole Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at. Right, who wants to sign us out? You can do a countdown, and then we'll clear off.
Don't. I love you, but I hate you for this as well.
Go on then, Jack. You can do it.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Good night.
Good night. Bye. Thank you.
Hello, welcome, and give me a hell yeah. Give me a whole yeah. Give me a whole yeah. From the Spanish god, Sammy Guevara. Cheers to everyone watching in Yorkshire and beyond. I hope you guys have a great day. From the Spanish god. Shout out to Dom. Shout out to Anthony. You guys are smart because you're fans of me. And anyways, have a great day.